Hi friends, it's Becky and I want to do a little necklace design with you using beads from the Wendy's Safari Sam's Bead Box. This was the bead box for September 2025 and the 9th of October is the last day to subscribe if you want to get the October bead box, which is going to be coming pretty soon. So I'm excited for that, but I really love the earthy, natural tones and features and varieties of beads that we got in this bead box that was a tribute to Wendy Whitman, who was a very important part of the beading community here on YouTube for a very long time. So I am really happy to be able to use this. I absolutely love these beads and I am so excited to use these in a design. I want to do kind of an asymmetric design, do a little bit of a tassel using some wire and these leaf beads, and use the seed bead mix that was not specifically designed for this box, but that matches perfectly. This was the Turquoise Tuscon bead mix, and I'm using the 11-0 bead mix for this. And I mean, you can see how well it just fits with all of this. So we're going to be using that, do a little tassel, make a little asymmetric design, and then we're going to string the rest of it. I'm using that turquoise mix that came in the box, some of these elongated melon beads, some Czech glass flowers, and we'll string the rest with some seed beads to get a just a little necklace with a very big focal part out front. I'm going to be closing it all off with a couple of jump rings, a lobster clasp. I've got some 2x2 crimp tubes here that are ready to go. I'm going to be stringing the strung portion on, I think I love this antique brass because this dark brown really meshes well with some of the brown tones in some of these beads. A couple of other good options would be gold to go with the gold findings, or maybe the fluorite color for a nice neutral light green, or to brighten things up to go with this turquoise that I'm including some turquoise wire, but I'm definitely going to be using this one for that. For my focal part, I'm going to be using some wire. I'm going to use a combination of 26 gauge, this is going to be for the tassel part, and then 20 gauge to wrap the focal together. And this is just some gold colored craft wire that I'm going to be using. The tools that I'll be using are a chain nose plier, a flush cutter, there it is, and let's see, round nose pliers, and then to crimp everything up, I'm going to use my magical crimper. It is my favorite way of crimping. If you have a regular crimper, you can use that as well, and do a different style of crimp. If you do a different style of crimp, because this makes a little crimp bead that's nice and smooth and easy to easy on the eyes. If you use a different style of crimper, I would recommend using some crimp covers. I don't usually have to do that with this style of crimping though, so that's one of the reasons I like doing it. Alright, so I've kind of divided these up a little bit into two different piles for each side of the necklace. The only asymmetry is going to be right here where it joins, but until I get to that part of it, I'm going to go ahead and move aside these pieces for now, and we're going to work on our focal. So for the focal, I want to make some little wire tassels that will hang down from this center focal bead, and I'm going to be using this bead mix again and these side drilled Czech glass leaves. There we go. And to do that, let's pull off some craft wire. I'm going to get, let's see, how long is this? 3.5 to 4 inch lengths of the 26 gauge wire. So there's 1, 2, and they can be different lengths because I don't want all of my tassels to be the same length. I want some sort of cascading action going on them. I want them to jostle around when they are dangling. So that's why I'm giving approximate like 3.5 to 4 inch lengths for these. And I'm only using 4 of them because each wire is going to have 2 tassels, and I'll show you how we do that in just a minute. I'm going to take one of those wires and I'm going to put it through one of my Czech glass leaf beads. I'm going to bend the wire up and over just about a 1/2 inch in, and then give this a little twist right here. 1, 2, and snip off my excess wire. Like that. Let's do that again with this one. I want to go ahead and get this on the leaf bead, about a 1/2 inch out of it, bend it up, bend the other half up, make sure they cross over the top, and after they cross over the top, put your thumb on this one over here and your finger on this one and give it a little twist. It doesn't have to be a big twist, it can be a small twist. It can drift off to the side a little bit, that's fine. But all I'm doing is just getting these leaves attached right there to the end of 4 of these. This is a fun way to do a little leaf at the end, sort of like a head pin, but not quite. One more. Okay, so now I've got these little guys on there. I am going to, truly random, just kind of scooch this through my pile of beads until I have a length that I feel comfortable with for one of my tassels. And then right up here above that, I'm going to grab my round nose pliers. And we're just going to grasp it right above that, near the tip. I'm going to just wrap that around and go around twice. Straighten this out. I'm going to angle it down a little bit more. So see, we've got that one. And then for the next bit, I'm going to do the same. I'm going to scooch this through my pile of seed beads. And I feel like I have enough. Like that. Grab another leaf bead. And right here at the end, I'm going to leave myself enough room that when I bend it up, there's still a little bit of space on that wire to wrap this other end around. This way, we can have more tassels with fewer connection points up near my base. There we go. So we're going to be attaching it with this loop here. You can pinch these down together to get them like that. And I'm going to make 3 more of those. This one's a little bit longer, so I can maybe add a few extra 11 O's onto this one, or maybe the next one. I don't know. And when you slide this along here, you're not going to be pointing it down into the mat. You're sliding it along the top of the mat. Just kind of dip it into the seed beads. And the beads like to orient themselves when you push them through. So then they'll get, that's a little too many. So yeah, that seems like a good piece. This was one of my longer ones, so again, right up here at the top, bend that over, bring that around the end, wrap it around twice, once, twice, straighten that out, turn that over, and scoop up some beads. That would be about the same length, so I'm just going to add a couple more for some additional length. There we go. Now another leaf bead. Oh, that one's a little bit broken. Let's move on to this one. Yeah. I'm just trying not to wrap it around that seed bead there. So I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing with these next two lengths, and I'll be right back once those are finished. All right, so I have 4 different double length. They are all different lengths. We've got some that are shorter, some that are longer, some that are kind of mid-length. So we're going to be attaching these to this using some 20 gauge wire. I'm going to go ahead and pull off 1, 2, about twice as much wire as the length of what I'm doing. Straighten this out and warm it up a little bit. And this is about maybe 6 to 8 inches of wire for this. I'm actually going to do a little bit more, so that's about 8 inches there. And the first thing I'm going to do is make myself a little loop or platform down here that I can attach these to. It's going to be a wrapped loop. So I'm going to bend this back away from me and then push my wire up around my round nose pliers and have it cross over here. Before I wrap it though, I am going to slide these guys on. I'm going to start with a small one, go for a medium length one next, then the longest, and then another short one. There we go. So then they'll hang like that, a little bit of a cascade. I'm going to hold on to my loop. You can either use your fingers or another plier to do a little wrap around here. And I'm just going to wrap it twice. Doesn't need to be a big wrap. Doesn't even need to be a neat wrap because we are going to be wrapping over it after we get our other bead on. Alright, so we've got a little loop here. We've got that. And now I've got this long length of wire. I'm going to put my focal bead on. And I need to make a loop up here that we can attach this to, and also that we can string from the other end from. So I'm going to make a loop here at the top. I'm pressing the back of my pliers against my bead and then tilting it at an angle like so. And then all I'm doing is just closing my pliers, and that bends that back a little bit. Then at that same spot, I'm going to wrap the wire around the top of my pliers, rotate my pliers, and keep going around. And then I'm going to wrap a couple of times down here. And the important part now is going to be making sure I like this as my front. I'm going to be locking the front into place by crossing the wire over the front of this. Come on. Straighten out a little bit, friend. Straighten up and fly right. Right, I'm pinching my focal bead and this wire. I'm going to hold it in place. I'm going to wrap down around this wrap. And then I'm going to keep going down around my tassel. And I'm going to want to hold it up so that gravity can hold these guys in place while I wrap around my tassel. I'm going really slow. Go really slow so you can get a nice cone shape around that tassel. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and snip off my excess back here. Make sure you are snipping just the one wire. There we go. Now that covers up that bit, and it's poking out at weird angles, so I'm just going to give it a little bit of a hug to get them hanging down a little bit straighter. There we go. So that's going to hang that way. And now I've got my focal made. Alright. So to attach this focal here, I'm going to attach first my leaf. And then actually, let's attach this after, because I think it might be too dangly to do it ahead of time. But I am going to want to get some of my beads strung on in that order that I want them to be, and then we'll do our crimping after I get them strung on. That way I don't have to. Alright, so I'm going to move actually all of these aside, because what I want is for this, because the same length on that side is going to be this length on this side. So what I want is to start my stringing with an 11/0 on this. I'm just going to string the one side first. And I'm going to be picking these seed beads up at random as I go. Just doing a seed bead, a check glass, and a seed bead for this section. I'm just using them sort of as a spacer between each of these elements on this front portion. It's still part of the focal. And then we're going to add one of our larger beads like that. And I'm working from the spool so that I don't have to worry about cutting the right length yet, and then putting on a bead stopper so I can just string along like this. All right. Now I'm going to be doing groups of 3 for my nuggets. Do I want them all to be the same colors? No, not necessarily. How about some of these? I think those will be good. Then we also are going to be using these. So we're going to do nugget, one of these, and then a flower. And then nugget, one of these, and then a flower. And then nugget, one of these, and then a flower, and then nuggets. And I think that's going to be long enough, especially if we are doing, let's do 1, 2, 3 seed beads, and then a stack of nuggets. I just really like saying the word nuggets. Nugget, nugget, nug life. There we go. And then 3 seed beads. 1, 2, 3. And one of my long melon, the melon ovals, like that. 3 seed beads. These are still the 11 seed beads that I'm using. 1, 2, 3. And one of these check glass flowers. One, 2, 3. And some more nuggets. And then 1, 2, 3. Melon bead. And 1, 2, 3. Flower. And 1, 2, 3. Nuggets. And then 1, 2, 3. Melon bead. I'm loving it. Absolutely loving it. 1, 2, 3. Counting with Becky, that's what we're doing. Check flower. And then 1, 2, 3. And more nuggets. And I think I'll end with 3 more 11-Os and check my length, because if I need to extend it anymore, I might just do some more groups of nuggets separated by seed beads if I need it to be longer. But I'm going to check my length first. I do like a shorter necklace, so this is probably going to be about the right length for me. I'm holding it up to my neck to see. Oh, Yes, this is absolutely perfect. Now I'm going to crimp the end here to keep my beads from sliding off after I cut it. And then when I go to add my closures, I will just attach a jump ring to my loop. So I'm just going to put this loop on here at the end. Got my crimp bead on, my crimp tube, sorry. And we'll fold back the wire. Now, with most normal crimping, you want to keep your wire parallel. It's not as important with this style of crimping, but I like it just to look neat right there. So what I want to do is get that crimp tube centered in my magical crimper. Make sure it is centered in there before I do my first squeeze. And then do my first squeeze. It's going to squish down just the corners like a pillow or a ravioli of this crimp tube, and then turn it at a 90-degree angle. Make sure it is centered. Do another squish. And then just hit it from a whole bunch of other angles. And just do all of these little squishes, and it rounds out all of those sharp and rough edges and leaves you with a little ball of crimp. It's very secure, and you don't have to use a crimp cover. So that's why I like using it. All right. So now I've got that. I'm going to cut off enough here on this end for crimping. And I'm going to attach this end of my strand here to my focal. So crimp tube, go through my loop. I could attach it with jump rings, but I'd like to just attach it directly to it. Okay, are we taking up our slack? Yes, okay. Perfect. And I'd like to make sure that there's a little bit of space between my jump ring and the crimp so that I can get my crimper situated in there without squeezing that seed bead. And sometimes when you've got other components like this, it can be a little bit awkward to crimp. That is okay. All right. And so now I am going to start stringing on the other portion of this. It's going to be connected to this leaf bead though, so I'm going to start with this and build up the same from here, and I'm going to do this part symmetrically, so I'm going to just follow the same pattern with 3 11/0 seed beads, some little groups of nuggets. Actually, let's pull out my nugget groups first before we do anything else. Make sure we lay these guys all out in a row so that it is quick and easy for me to put them together. And then one more. I love doing little clusters of nuggets. That is one of my favorite ways of using nugget beads. All right, so I'm going to do that. Once I've got that strung on my wire, I'll come back and we will attach this strand to this and this to this. All right, so I have it strung and I'm just comparing to make sure I didn't miss anything. Again, I started with this stone, which was the, what was it? Green zebra jasper, which I love it. It is honestly my favorite, the green zebra jasper. I'm just making sure that everything is okay there before I crimp the end and get ready for piecing the rest of this together. And it looks good to me. So let's go ahead and do our little loop on the end. Again, I'm going to be using some jump rings for this end to attach my closures. I just need to make a loop first. Okay, that's good. All right, and this I'm going to attach directly to my fern leaf link. Got my crimp on here, my fern leaf link. Feed this back through. Crimp isn't working for me. I'm going to grab a different one. It might have just been a little too thick. That happens sometimes. Go. Could try fighting it, but I don't want to. Alright. And I'm just going to stuff my wire through my zebra jasper. Okay. Next step, using a jump ring. Sorry, I was turned away, so that was probably quieter than it should have been. I'm going to use a jump ring to attach this. to my main focal, like that. And then we'll attach closures and we'll have ourselves a necklace from Wendy's Safari Sam's Bead Box. This is a beautiful, beautiful bead box. Close that up. Make sure those ends are closed. Ugh. I love, 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 love it. Sometimes it's good to stop and admire your work, friends, and that is what I'm doing right here. Stopping and admiring my work. Let's go ahead and add a jump ring to this side. This is going to be the front. So I like to have the more fiddly part of my clasps be on the right hand side since I am right-handed. So I'm just going to put a single jump ring on this end to connect my lobster clasp to. So this is the left hand side. And then this will be the right hand side. So I will use a jump ring to connect my lobster clasp there. So I always check to make sure before I do it that the lobster clasp actually works. And it does. There we go. Perfect. I am in love with it. I love my little wire tassels. I love my leaf. I love all of these beautiful gemstones and Czech glass beads that look like stones that all came together for a beautiful, beautiful, natural, earthy looking thing. All right, I'm going to put a link in the description to Sam's Bead Box if you'd like to, again, subscribe. If you are seeing this after the 9th of October, I'm sorry you missed it. Your next box will probably be November, if that's the case. But if you're seeing this on the 9th and you have not subscribed and you'd like to subscribe for the October box, today's the day. There's also a coupon code you can use in the description that will give you $5 off your first box. So go ahead and use it. It's fun. I really enjoy this box. It is one of my absolute favorites, and it is always so beautifully and thoughtfully curated. Until next time, my friends, happy beading.